Hello, welcome. We are out here today protesting the detention center at Guantanamo, Cuba. This is the 13th anniversary of the opening of Guantanamo, where many people have been held, supposedly terror suspects, but they haven't been charged. More men have died at Guantanamo than have been tried. 9 have died, 8 have been tried in military commissions, if you can call that a trial. There are 127 men there today, at least a smaller number than we had last year. 30 have gotten out in the course of the year, but 127 is too many. Of those, 59 men have been cleared for release, most of them long since. Some of them have been cleared twice, in 07 and 09. It doesn't matter if you're cleared for release by this government. If they want to hold you, they'll just hold you.
Hello everybody, I'm Nancy Murray, and for 25 years I was Director of Education at the American Civil Liberties Union of Massachusetts. Now, like many of you, I'm sure, I spent several distressing hours reading the 500 pages, redacted, heavily redacted pages that relate to a 6,000-page Senate torture report that came out in December. It was learned about the extent of the dehumanization. It was really shocking, and equally shocking was the fact that the media opened up their doors to Cheney and others to basically say, we saved thousands of lives when it was clear from the report that they hadn't, and to say that torture works. Now, it is not a surprise, therefore, that the majority of Americans now think that torture works. The majority of Americans also don't want to close Guantanamo, which is another major torture camp. It's not just the CIA black sites, it's Guantanamo. Now, I wonder if the people who say we shouldn't close Guantanamo would change their minds if they had read this op-ed, the words of Sami Naji, who has been in Guantanamo for 13 years. The CNN did post his words on their website, and I would like to read them to us today. So these are Sami Naji's words. He said, I've heard that the Senate report on CIA torture is 6,000 pages long. My story, though, takes place elsewhere, in Guantanamo, away from the CIA program that the report covers. The 6,000 pages of the Senate report are just the start of what Americans have to accept happened in their name. It starts and ends in the silence of a tiny, freezing cold cell, alone. That's where you hold yourself in a ball and fight to ignore the confusion of what has just happened to you, and the fear of what might be coming next, or the fear that comes when you realize that no one is coming to help, that the life, family, and friends you knew are all far, far away. The cell door opens. The next session, seemingly the 100th in a row. I think my first period of interrogation lasted a full 3 months. 2 teams of interrogators running shifts day and night. Each session begins with shouting to wake me up. Then they hit me on the face and the back. I am so desperate for sleep, my head is swimming. There are photographs of faces stuck all around the wall of the room. They demand that I identify the individuals, but I can barely focus to see if I might know them. The shouting and the insults get louder, and then they nod to a man in the corner. He injects me twice in the arm with some unknown substance. It's the last thing I know. The freezing cold cell, the cell door opens. This time, the guards enter making awful honking noises like wild animals. I try to refuse to eat the little food they bring me, to protest all of this. The interrogator laughs at me, but then turns angry. He swears loudly and pours an army meal pack over my head. They tell the man in the corner to start feeding me intravenously. He inserts the tubes in 2 different places on my arm and makes it bleed. The freezing cold cell. The cell door opens. This time the guards push me to the floor and take turns trampling over my back. The interrogators throw food on the floor, tell me to eat it like a pig. 4 years ago, 6 U.S. government security agencies sat together and reviewed my case. Their conclusion, that I was innocent of any crime and should be released. The dirty and sadistic methods I endured, which were then taken directly to Abu Ghraib, achieved nothing except to shame that American flag hanging in the prison corridor, which I was made to salute. 127 prisoners are still being held in Guantanamo, whilst the politicians squabble over how to black out the Senate report. America cannot keep hiding from its past and its present like this. Our stories and our continued detention cannot be made to disappear. Those are Samir Naji's words. We should all read them, we should hold them in our hearts, and we should all fight to close Guantanamo. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Here's a poem by Osama Abu Kadir, known as Prisoner Number 651. Shortly after September 11th, Osama Abu Kadir traveled to Pakistan to perform charity work in Afghanistan with the Islamic missionary group Tablighi Jamaat. The U.S. claims Tablighi was providing fighters for jihad in Afghanistan and arrested Mr. Kadir near Jalalabad in November 2001. In his native Jordan, he was known as a dedicated family man who worked as a truck driver. In Guantanamo, he is known as Prisoner 651. Here's his poem. It's called, Is It True? Is it true? Is it true that the grass grows again after rain? Is it true that the flowers will rise up again in the spring? Is it true that birds will migrate home again? Is it true that the salmon swim back up their streams? It is true. This is true. These are all miracles. But is it true that one day we'll leave Guantanamo Bay? Is it true that one day we'll go back to our home? I sail in my dreams. I am dreaming of home. To be with my children, each one part of me. To be with my wife and the ones that I love. To be with my parents, my world's tenderest. I dream to be home, to be free from this cage. But do you hear me, oh judge? Do you hear me at all? We are innocent. Here, we've committed no crime. Set me free. Set us free. If anywhere still justice and compassion remain in this world, set us free.
Yeah. Yeah.